All right, so in this section of fundamental analysis, we're going to be talking about retracements and rallies. Now, again, this is a very simple concept, but a lot of people don't internalize this enough, and they really should, right? Like, what I'm going to tell you is pretty obvious, but you don't do it. I guarantee that you guys don't do this. And if you start doing what I tell you in this video, it's going to massively improve everything about your investing. And it's a very simple concept, okay? So one of the things that I do in my analysis, can I shrink myself? There we go, is I like to look at what is the usual retracements and usual upside for certain investments, for certain coins, for certain sectors. And then I use those rough guidelines to help guide my decision making in basically buying and selling. Okay, so certain coins, right? Certain market cap coins, certain sectors, certain stages of the bull run or the bear market, whatever it is. Coins do different things. They go up certain amounts and down certain amounts, and they generally do pretty similar things each time, give or take, a bit of difference. But there's general things that happen, okay? There's certain amounts the coins go down when they dip in a bull market, and there's certain amounts coins go up in a bull market, okay? So I like to do two things with the measuring of a retracement and the measuring of a rally. And it's basically, number one is I want to estimate, how much do coins generally go up before I want to look to sell them. And generally, how much do coins go down in a bull market and in a bear market that I want to look at seeing before I consider buying. And most people don't do this, right? They'll buy a coin that's up 100x in a bull market because they think it's going to go higher, but they haven't considered the fact that, hey, maybe, usually coins go up 100x and that's not a great time to get in for the long term. You should probably be being careful, right? So what I like to do is I like to set rough guidelines of what I want to see before I buy or sell certain things. And it's invaluable for me doing this to remove FOMO. It increases my patience because I know what I expect to see in a bull market. And it allows me to get better entries, okay? It seems like common sense, the numbers I'm going to give you, but most of you would outperform if you actually did what I'm going to show you. So let's talk about retracements first. And I'm just going to use the chart to illustrate this. Bitcoin's pumping at the moment. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at bull market retracements, okay? So that's the first thing. How much does Bitcoin retrace in a bull market? This is a general guideline I would like to get for myself, right? And I want to show you guys what I mean. Where's the price range? Here we go. Let's have a look. 20%. From here, it's about 20%, right? What about this one? 20%. What about this one? 20%. So for this bull run, Bitcoin has done a pretty equal retracement each time. So the general guideline of me doing retracement measurements is for Bitcoin, I want to see a 20% pullback, right? So to make it this simple, this section of the course is about what technical analysis am I doing? Well, one of the technical analysis things I'm doing is measuring retracements. Okay? I like to measure what the average retracement for Bitcoin is, because if I'm looking to buy Bitcoin, then I just ask myself, well, in a bull run you want to buy dips, right? What's the dip that Bitcoin does? Well, it's in this bull run a 20% dip. So any 20% decline in Bitcoin, I will measure it and I'll go, okay, let me compare this with my other data sets, combine it together, and I'll get an idea of, how good of a buy signal this particular retracement is, okay? So that's the same for Ethereum. If we look at Ethereum, I think you're going to notice that it does something quite similar. So from here to here is 20%. From here to probably a little bit more, 30%. And this one looks a little bit less, 20%. Okay, so similar thing. I would say maybe Ethereum a little bit more. Solana, let's have a look at Solana, right? What's the rough retracement? Solana's more volatile, so you'll see it does 30%, 35%. Here it did 25%. This is more bear market, but it was 50%, 45%. Oops. and this one here was 16%, okay? So you can see that Solana has bigger retracements generally in a bull run. Now, how much of a retracement do we see on meme coins, right? Meme coins are obviously different to Bitcoin and stuff. So let's have a look. Thank you, Base God would be a good one to do because it's got a nice, easy chart to visualize things with. So let's do where's the tool at? Price range. So 50%, you can see already off the bat, this thing is way more volatile. 60%, 40%, 50%. Oh, looks like it's dumping a bit at the moment. It's around 60%. Okay, so you can see here that Bitcoin generally 20% in this bull run. In the last one, it was more like 30%. Ethereum, 25%, I would say. Solana, 30 to 50. And meme coins like Thank You Base God, 30 to 60%. Okay. 40 to 60%, okay, is generally what it is. Sometimes you'll get a 70% retracement as well. And these are basically the regions that I would look to buy a dip in a bull run. So one of the ways that I do technical analysis is measuring for general trends of retracements, and then I keep an eye out for them when they happen on coins that I want to accumulate, right? And I would obviously combine this analysis with my Hunter algorithm and other things that I look at to warrant me to buy something. So that's buying. One other thing you want to consider is the retracement of a bear market. So this is the regions you want to buy dips in a bull run, but what's the general guideline for a bear market? Let's look at that quickly. So Bitcoin, I think you'll find it went down about 80%, 85%. Let's have a look. Oh, 77%. So let's have a look at what Ethereum did. I think it did pretty much the same thing. Okay, it was like 80%, pretty much the same thing. Solana, I think it did like 95%. Now keep in mind, this was probably a bit bigger than usual, 96%. That was a bit bigger than usual because of, obviously, the FTX situation. Can't look at what Toshi did, but we can look at what meme coins did. Maybe Doge is not the best example. Maybe SHIB's a better example because it's a bit smaller. Oh, wow, Doge is pumping. Sorry, SHIB is pumping. Oh, what a mess. Let's get rid of this. I think SHIB went down a lot, like 98%. 93, 94. Okay, so it went down less than Solana. Isn't that funny? So, that's like general guidelines of what you want to see in a bear market. So when another bear market comes, if you're looking to accumulate any of these altcoin positions, generally you want to wait for a 80, 90% decline before you begin looking for entries. And I don't think anything has changed in the alt market to warrant you looking for less of a decline. I do think that Bitcoin could be changing and the retracement expectations for Bitcoin might be higher. So higher is in like you would want to see a 60% retracement instead of, let's say, 77. That would be more in line with what I'd be expecting with Bitcoin for the next bear market. But, maybe things change, but that's my expectation with the ETF, okay? So let's say you sell when you think it's the end of the bull run and you're trying not to buy back in too early. What you should be doing is just waiting for altcoins to go down 80, 90% across the board. And I think that's a pretty fair, reasonable retracement that you'd want to see. Because remember, altcoins are the most risky sector of the financial world. This is where, they have the most volatility. They go down the most. If we get a 20, 30% decline in stocks, why wouldn't you get a larger decline in literally like scams, right? In a scammy altcoin market. That's just what happens. So that's what you'd want to see, okay? Now let's talk about rallies. So as a general rule of thumb, this is the returns that I would expect from bottom to top on these coins, okay? So Bitcoin from the bottom, I would expect a 4 to 8x. So if the bottom is like, what's Bitcoin's bottom? I think it was like 16K. Yep, so times that by probably more like 8. That would be like 120K. I think that's pretty reasonable. Ethereum, similar, a little bit more. Solana 10 to 20x. So the bottom, what was the bottom on Solana? I can't see shit. It was like $10, okay? Let's say 10. So that would be $100 to $200. So honestly, Solana could do more than that. Let's raise this up to like 10 to, let's say 15 to 30x. 15 to 30x. And then meme coins, it's 10 to 100x. So for example, Toshi, I'm up about, it depends what price it's at, but like it went up to, the peak of what it went up to was a 50x. Now it's at, I think, I don't know, 30x or something. And thank you, Base God, that's up, I think, 25x. I bought it at 2.3 million market cap. It's now at like 45. So it's like a 20x. But, you know, the reason I would be able to hold a meme coin for a 50x and I wouldn't hold Solana for a 50x is because I've set in my mind expectations, and I have an idea of the guideline of what return I'd be looking for in certain positions. Because if you go down into smaller coins in more volatile sectors like the meme sector, like I just showed you, you would want to have a higher return to justify that extra risk, right? You're not going to put all your money in Toshi for a 2x. You're going to do it for a 20x, right? So that's how I generally try to look at markets. I'm trying to like think how much of this coin's rally has been done, right? If this coin did this much of a rally before, and it's got this market cap now, what can I reasonably expect from the bottom to the top? Because when you get up to those levels, you're going to think, oh, this thing can keep going, the chart looks great, everyone's bullish. But if you were to look at like, hey, hold on a second, it's done its usual pump, maybe it's a little bit less than what it usually does, this is probably somewhere where you'd want to be taking off risk, right? And that's how I would look at using this method of analysis. Because in markets, they don't repeat, right? The same thing doesn't happen every time. Bitcoin can go down less, it can go up more, but markets often rhyme. And I think just using the chart to get a general idea of where you are in the market, I think is a good process that you guys should all implement, okay? So that's pretty much this video. I'll catch you in the next one.